Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 22nd day of August, 2024. Well, we have a Master 22 day today. I always love it when we have master numbers, 11s and 22s. They're so powerful. 33 we don't get in a month, but still, when you see a 33, that's Christ consciousness. And for 22, though, you're looking at the cosmic builder. So profound soul level change. And I when I started this, it was getting glitchy, so I started again, and I kept the runes though that I had drawn. I hadn't gotten to the cards yet, mainly because of today being the 22nd day. I drew Hagalaz and Kata Draconis, and so you're really looking at with Hagalaz here. On the higher self side, on the above side of things, you're looking at the Norn rune of the past. It means its keyword is hail, and so you're looking at pretty. It can be pretty transformative depending upon how big the hail is. We generally don't get stuff like that here, but in the 90s we had golf ball size hail one day, and that was interesting, quite devastating to a lot of stuff, quite destructive. And fortunately there was no garden at that point. It was not the time of year for that, so nothing there, but what a mess that was. And so it can be pretty so when you think of it in terms of Hagalaz, though, you're talking about transformation or a reordering or a restructuring, but within fixed boundaries. And so generally speaking, how I see Hagalaz is a shift in perception, where the perceptions you've held onto, it doesn't take away your values or principles or anything like that, but maybe how you see things changes in a significant way. And I think it's one of the reasons I wanted to keep the runes I had already drawn this morning with today's 22 master number for the day. It could be quite profound, even though it keeps your same, higher values, basically, of kindness and love and morality and compassion and things like that. But maybe how you manifest that could change today in some way. That might be one example of that. And then with Kata Draconis, you're looking at the south node of the moon influence. Capit would be the north node, and focusing on the future. But here is how the past influences. It's the tail of the dragon instead of the head of the dragon. And so you're coming up behind, essentially. And so you're looking at, again, it reinforces the idea of past perceptions or paradigms that you're ready to shift into something else. And even if it just feels maybe like, well, nothing's really changing that's that dramatic, as you go on and you start applying the new belief structure to other things that are going on in your life, you may see something significant there. But with today's 22 energy, something's going to happen today that's quite profound in terms of how you see things. And how you see things is really based on the past, isn't it? And so I think that's where Kata Draconis comes in. Let's go ahead, though, and I'm going to shuffle just a little bit more, although I've been shuffling here this morning as I'm looking at the news and everything that's going on. Exciting last few days, the last day of the Democratic National Convention, where we're going to officially nominate well, it actually was officially already done virtually, but at the convention where we nominate Kamala Harris to be our first female president. So I don't know, maybe a little profound, don't you think? Okay, so I've cut the deck and I've drawn 3 cards. I have, two of them are from Pentacles, and so we're going to be looking at in terms of material security, foundation, structure, legacy, if you will. And then we have the Tower, which is going to blow the lid off everything, right? Of how you see things, and so that's kind of interesting. I like it when readings are really well. I mean, if you look at the Tower and Hagalaz, And then a more, to make it more definitive with Cata Draconis. I mean, this is apparently on the 22nd day something very profound in terms of having to do with your basic physical structure of things. And so, in a presidential season, maybe it is. Maybe come November we'll have a female president. And I think that should that happen, and I believe that it will, but should that happen, then I think that is quite profound, isn't it? To see us move in that direction finally in this country, having a woman sitting in the Oval Office. So anyhow, let's go ahead, and I'm going to start, as I always do when I have one card from the major arcana. I'm going to put it above the other two. And let's just go ahead first before we start, and we'll do the numerology and see what we come up with there. So Hagalaz would have been a 9 in the Elder Futhark, the 9th rune, and then we have the 8 of Pentacles, plus we have the 16th card from the major arcana, the Tower, and then the 10 of Pentacles. So that's going to be 43. Well, that's interesting because 43 reduces to 7. Let me be sure on this. Let's go again. 9 for Hagalaz, 8 plus, let's see, that's 16 plus 10. 43. So 4 and 3 is 7. And as I've said before, I have my little post-it note here so I don't have to draw it all over again. 7 to me is depicted as a scale, where you've got 3 on one side, 3 on the other for the pans, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7 over here. So you have the idea of 7, which is observation and balance. It's also spirituality. It can be legal issues, justice, spellcraft or witchcraft. But it's the idea of letting things settle. And when you look at the Tower, essentially that's what you have. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so you see here the lightning bolts come in. It's blown the top off the Tower. 2 people are falling out. You see fire coming out of the windows there. Now, we don't know that anything bad's going to happen to them because there's likely a moat. We'll just say that. They're just going to go swimming, right? And so, but it's a very transformative and a rebalancing effect, if you will, that the Tower has. And when you look at the 22, there's something about the 22 that if you look at it, I'm going to show you what I mean by this. There's a certain sense of balance or rebalancing with the 22. You have 2 and 2. Okay. Now, if you were to divide them, 2 is the number of balance anyway. It's the number of love and healing and just basically reciprocity and harmony. And so in a sense, you could look at the 22 today as a rebalancing as well, from a soul perspective, getting rid of perceptions that don't serve, that aren't appropriate anymore, and moving into some other ideas and that are quite transformative in your life. And again, with what's going on today at the Democratic National Convention, you're looking at something that's quite profound here today. And what impact that will have on our future in November, we'll have to just wait and see. But at the same time, in my perspective, fingers crossed. So this is an exciting moment for those of us who have watched women's rights improve, and now you've got one side of the equation wanting to suppress all of it, even so much as one person who's influencing all of that, and not just one person, more than one person, talking about taking the right to vote away from women. So it's like, no, that's not happening. And so there's going to have to be some transformation of perception somewhere here so that we can come to some kind of a balance in our lives. It's more productive and elevates society and all of that. And so with the Tower and Hagalaz, you have that type of energy, plus with the Master 22 numerology for today. You have that profound energy on a single day. So we'll see what happens here. What happens at tonight's last day of the convention. All I have to say is 2 words: Stevie Wonder. Was he not great last night? Wow, wow, wow. Anyway, sort of dates me, doesn't it? But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the tower. We talked about it in terms of a rebalancing effect here that's transformational. It's disruption, it's catalytic change, it's letting go, it's basically it's positive, it's not negative. There's nothing. That's why I say we don't think anything really happens to these two, because it's a very positive card. Now, here you've been working and working and working here, building your wealth, building your working your craft, essentially. Learning learning from experience with the 8. The 8 is an interesting number. It corresponds with the card of strength in the major arcana, which is the 8th card. And you're looking at taming the wild within, which takes a lot of strength, both from higher self and within, to be able to do that, to tame the ego. And here with the 8, you're looking at material recognition and approval as well, leadership skills. Here he's out away from the town. Here's the town in the background. You do see on the edge right here the dual line right here of separation, where this is one thing that's going on and there's another thing going on in the background. But basically he's making his way. He's building his life. He's building his wealth. He's taking his own initiative. He's motivated to increase things, whether it's his study, whether he looks like more, though he's not so much an apprentice now. He's actually on the job doing his thing, basically, and creating his own wealth in the process, demonstrating to others by having the coins tacked to this post or this wall or whatever. It's on display for all to see. And so you're not hiding your light under a bushel, basically. You're here to transform your experiences in life by applying what you know, by applying your experience and growing from there. Into something that is with the suit of pentacles. You're talking the earth element, and since we have a run on that today here in the reading, there's something about you're increasing your material security, your security here by building your experience and your wealth that comes from that. And so that in itself can be quite transformative. And there may be something about that today that shifts for you, that takes you in a new direction with respect to your material security. And then the 10 of Pentacles, I find is an extremely interesting card here. You see the pentacles, the coins arranged in the Kabbalistic tree of life in the shape of that. And that's an interesting flow of energy where, to me anyway, what it shows is how one progresses through life, embracing all the spiritual aspects within. It aligns very well with, in terms if you start connecting the dots, so to speak, connecting the different 10 little groups here of the tree of life. You're looking at different concepts and spiritual concepts that you move through and experience when you're in form. And dovetailing down to the earth, essentially, all of that focusing into form and manifesting in your life, if you will. With the 10, that reduces. It can be about endings. It can be about endings, and in fact you can say the passage from one phase to another, because not only are you kind of coming full circle with the 10, you're also beginning anew with it, because 1 and 0 is 1 and 1 is new beginnings. And so, and the genesis of things, think of the 1 as the aces in the minor arcana, the genesis of each suit, basically, coming from spirit in that way. But with the 10 of Pentacles, what you have here is you have an older man. He's wearing either a coat or it looks more like a blanket or a cape to me, and it has all kinds of things on it. You see grapes. It has the family crest. It has just symbols of his life, essentially. And you look at the same kind of thing on the archway here. You see some maybe family coat of arms there. You see the balance here with the light and dark. And you see the dogs here down at his side. It reminds me of the rune of Thala, the final rune of the Elder Futhark, where everything comes together in one's life. Again, similar to all of the soul archetype ideas found in the major arcana, I think you find the same thing in the 24 runes of the Elder Futhark, where you're looking at higher types of lessons that you want to learn and then express what you learned into form, into physical reality. The same is true with the 10 of Pentacles, where you come to the end of the minor arcana, although the court's included in that, but outside of that, of ace through 10, you're coming to the last card in the suit of the minor arcana, in the suit of Pentacles here, and you're looking at essentially at a transfer of legacy, or a passage of legacy. You see the archway here, and it's like these two here, who are his family, are going through the doorway into new experiences here. It's a very Degas type of experience. Degas is, you take that Roman numeral 10 there for in the tarot here, and if you were to, and that's basically an X, all right? So there's your Roman numeral 10, but if you terminate the ends, you have a little bow tie they call Degas in the Elder Futhark. And Degas is the 23rd rune, the next to the last rune in the Elder Futhark. And it's essentially, excuse me, hang on a second. My tea is still really hot, but I need to have some, because I'm literally losing my voice. We have still smoke in the area, so fires are still burning here and there. Depending on which way the wind comes in, we've been dealing with it for almost a couple of months now, so it's always this time of year is this way. But with the 10 and Degas, you're looking at the end of one phase and the beginning of another. And so if you're looking at, in terms of today's 22 numerology, the profound change may again be the end of a set of perceptions and the beginning, the awakening to new thinking, or to new ideas, or what have you. And so, but with the 10 here, you're looking at, again, the transfer of legacy. It's just implied. He's got everything here is out front for everyone to see and experience. All that he leaves behind for the younger people in his family, that transfer of legacy that we're seeing right now politically, with the president deciding to not run again, and to suddenly to do that, and then to open the door for another generation essentially to come in and take the reins, if you will. And that's kind of what's happening here in this card. It's always, like I say, it's always reminded me of Othala, where you're talking about inheritance and possessions and the Akashic record of one's life, the sacred space that you create for yourself and your family, protection, prosperity, balance. And again, with the 22 numerology today, you're looking at a sense of balance that's shifting and in a very profound way. And with Hagalaz deciding to let go of perceptions that no longer serve you, and to awaken to a new truth, a new fundamental truth in your life, letting past experience inform that decision in a way, or letting go of what you thought was real and now you realize something else is real. And and it may be something that just hits you today. Like the whole spark of creativity that just sort of, you make a realization today that's quite profound and maybe very joyful and joyous. So I think here, if I have to say anything overall, I think that we have a real alignment here between the 22 numerology and Hagalaz in particular, where transformation is very possible, again reinforced by the tower in the center here, where it's a rebalancing. It has a rebalancing effect. Maybe you get out a little bit on a limb with certain ideas, or or perceptions of one thing or another, and you're real focused on something, and then suddenly you realize, I'm kind of going in the wrong direction with this. Actually, I think it's this. It's not what I was thinking, and I need to shift gears a little bit and consider things from a different perspective or a new perspective. So you could have that sort of thing happening today. Again, I don't want to get really specific. I mean, it could have to do with anything, but I think that when you're looking at both pentacles here, the 8 and the 10, 8 and 10 is 18, 1 and 8 is 9, and there you're looking at essentially, again, a Degas moment, the end of one phase and the beginning of another. At 9 is about endings and completions. So there's that sense of endings that would dovetail then with Cauda Draconis, where you're on this verge of moving into letting go of past perceptions and moving into something far more productive, maybe. You could look at it that way. So I just think that there's a lot of synchronicity in the reading here today, and see what happens, see if, and maybe this has been coming. Maybe you've been thinking about this for a while, where you're having to take another look at how you see things. And maybe you realize that you've gone as far as you can go with something, and it's not panning out. It's not really coming to the conclusion you thought it would. And so it's time to make a shift in how you see things and try something else on and see how that feels. And see if it's more comfortable. See if you can see it, the path growing from there that's moving forward in a different direction than maybe you, excuse me, maybe even you thought was possible. I need to develop a throat spray. I really probably could. I could probably use some plantain. That would be one thing, but also something that's going to clear things up. Maybe some anise hyssop or something like that. Kind of make a throat spray out of that. That might help. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe some wild cherry bark, because that's really good for cough. Maybe a little echinacea in there. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about it. But something to get me through the fire season here on the high desert. I try not to go outside too much and limit the time I'm out there, but I was picking beans yesterday and I ended up with 2 big bowls of them, so I was out there for a little while doing that. But that's probably where I got it, because I stayed in pretty much the rest of the day. But here we are again. So I'll have to go and take care of my throat here, but I think that this is just kind of an interesting reading given the day, and shifting our perceptions, especially if we end up with a female president. That's going to be very interesting and a long time coming and very welcome. And so to see where that dynamic takes us, in a new direction, one that could be quite profound and have a profound impact not only on the country, but in our personal lives, and as well as the world, to finally have the world, because there's other countries that have had female leaders. It's not the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new world, right? And I think that you would think that the United States would pave the way for that, to be the leader on that, but oh no. And so now though, maybe that's going to happen. So it's a profound day, and to where we shift a collective perception to go in a different direction here. One that's filled with love and hope and joy, as they say. And that seems to be the key word right now. And if we can manifest that joy in our lives and into a positive direction where we are not just simply concerned about ourselves or the rich billionaires in the world, but in fact elevating things in a way that all can partake of. So that's kind of, I think, I think that's the reason for the United States. I think that's what makes this country special, is the ideas that we share and the ideas we go forward with, and we can't be afraid to do that now. So anyhow, it's a wonderful day. So I'll just leave you with that, and have a good weekend, and see what comes up for you. See what things you start to see, what ideas that you may start to think differently about, things in your life, things having to do with your material security. What's going to help you achieve that in a better way? What kind of shift in perception do you need to make that happen? And uh, then we'll talk again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.